Yacht racing can be fast and furious, with split-second decisions being the key to victory. But is sometimes the decision to go slow the answer to win? Stick around and let's find out with some real Sailing Team Tally-Ho point-of-view footage. When it comes to yacht racing, most people think it's all about speed. The faster, the better, right? Well, yes, but in reality, we have these pesky things to go around. And we have to deal with our neighbors who have rights too. They both have to be dealt with within the confines of the rules of the sport to make it fair. So it's not just about the speed of the boat. It's about the teams that can make and execute good offensive and defensive tactics in a split second. Today I'm going to show you a scenario where Tally-Ho didn't play this right, and we lost at least 2 race places, possibly more, in the time it takes to snap your fingers. So let's drill down to where this happened and what I think we should have done to avoid this whole thing. Remember those pesky marks we just talked about? Well, they're often the source of a lot of controversy on the racecourse. The world-established racing rules of sailing, I'll call them the RRS for short, has lots to say when multiple boats go around these marks during a race. Hey, I'll be right up front. I am not a world expert on these rules, but I do use them on every race. So what I know about them is my interpretation from when succeeding or failing to make good choices with them. I won't be getting into the minutiae of the rule, which, by the way, changes slightly over the years as the world-level judges find unfairness. But I do want to talk about how to deal with the rule overall. There is a lot to learn between the lines here, and some of it would seem to go against your instincts. The rule that I want to talk about and show you in a real-life clip is Rule 18 of the RRS. I'll let you read it for a moment. But it's a mouthful. You can get this rule book for yourself from US Sailing. I'll leave a link for that below. We're going to keep this video simple though. Today we'll put the laser beam on when multiple boats go around a mark. It matters if the boats have an overlap with each other. The simple answer is if a boat has an overlap, even if it might be slightly behind, it has right to round the mark closer to the other boats. In other words, the outside boat can be forced to go wide around the inside boat. Tactical hint. You want to avoid doing this at all costs. This is especially pertinent when boats are moving fast towards a leeward mark and not able to slow up easily by luffing like they can at a windward mark. The critical decision point can take less than a second. It can mean coming out ahead, falling helplessly behind, or crash, boom, bang. You gotta choose wisely. And decisively. So let's get to our footage. We'll take a look from a couple of different angles with some stop action and comments. Then I'll play it through real time. You'll see how quickly you need to recognize the situation and make the right decision. Here we are at a leeward mark. You'll see sonar 420, high fidelity is the name, that is close to the mark and has overlap at the zone. They have mark room or inside rights, which we give them. We were a little far away from 420 on purpose so that we could do a tactical rounding around the mark. However, we were a little impatient and were just a little too close to do that. Unfortunately for us, you'll see that they don't make the turn quickly. And since we're pretty close to them, we were not able to cut inside of them for quite a while. Eventually, we were able to cut upwind and inside, but behind them by quite a bit, even if we were roughly even at the mark. Now let's take a look at the same footage from a different angle to look at a different boat, sonar 370. Notice how the mark is left wide open here. Whoa, that's what we originally wanted to do. Look where they went. They're way ahead of us now. And all of this in less than 30 seconds. We lost at least 2 places here, and possibly more, with new sonars arriving at the mark. Now I'm going to play at real speed, so you can see how fast you got to make your decision. And this is in light air. We're moving pretty slowly here. Imagine what it would be like at 20 to 25 knots of wind. Look at all the distance we lost in just a few seconds. So, what to do? What to do? There are some discussions we could have about the proper course of 420, but keep in mind that they were very close to the mark when they were arriving, which is where the mark room obligation is the most pertinent. The trouble didn't happen until after we were leaving the mark, where the mark room obligation no longer applies. We have a couple of options. First, we could have protested 420 for the leeward-windward Rule 11. But there are a couple of downsides to that. One is that we could always lose the protest. And number 2, we still let all those other boats in, and in the long run lose more. The other option, and I think this is a much better one, is to just slow down a bit and give 420 maybe 10 more feet of room to do their thing. Losing 10 feet versus not losing 50? I think that's a good deal. We would continue to do our tactical rounding like we wanted, and as you see the other boat did here, without any protest, loss risk, and perhaps more importantly, closing the door on the mark for other boats behind us. But it takes a little patience, though, to let up on the gas pedal when you're so used to being fast, fast, fast all the time. Now let's consider something that looks roughly the same, but is oh so very different. Here's a different race where a faster boat is catching up, but it appears to me to not have the overlap at the zone, but then catches up and gets it just before the mark and asserts a mark room right with a collision. If I was the boat ahead, I would go wide and try to avoid the collision, but in this case I would protest and fly the red flag. The incoming boat got its overlap too late to count. From what I see, it should have been the one slowing down. Look at how many places that leeward boat lost. You gotta think fast. It's tricky. So there you go. I've shown you 2 scenarios where to slow down is the best way to actually stay ahead, or stay out of the protest room. It isn't always just fast, fast, fast. But the trick is knowing when to put on the brakes, how much, and in time to make a difference. What's the first step in getting there with that? Go back and study the RRS Rule 18 really carefully. Do you have any go slow to win stories? Love to hear them. They usually have a pretty good twist to them. Be sure to check out our next video where we'll be showing you some footage that involves another rule that causes a lot of consternation. Proper course.